Hey everybody, it's Ken VHS, and welcome back to another episode of our Medieval Total War campaign as the French in Glorious Achievements mode. It's AD 1283, and we are just in a holding pattern here with regard to the Spanish and the English, who are not at war with one another, are in fact allied, but are really building up to either attack me or attack each other. We are keeping an eye on the papacy, who has blobbed out incredibly all the way into Anatolia, the Balkans, Central Europe. It is just nuts. I don't think I have ever seen the Pope grow this big. And I'm not a fan, to be honest, because war with the Pope, I believe, is instant excommunication. We're, allied with them right now, so that's fine, and they have lots of business to attend to with, the Byzantines and the Egyptians and other things. But it's a stressful moment in the campaign for sure, because I really don't want to go to war with the Spanish or with the English at the moment. And so I'm hoping that events are going to overtake them, and there will be a civil war, there will be a reemergence of the Aragonese, something to get us shaken out of this pattern. In the meantime, we're just building up. But one thing that I've realized that I should have done a long time ago probably is just move these guys back. Move the king, rather, back into Flanders. Because we've got a habit of our kings being crowned in Toulouse. I think at this point... Oh, no, we got to do one more building. We got to do something else potentially here, because it's the same number of buildings, and I'm not sure where the king is going to come of age next. But anyway, we've got King Charles V here, who is 58 years old, got just about max influence, but we're starting to dip into the lower branches of the family tree in terms of acumen, in terms of other skills. So hopefully we can flip that around here. Prince Jean is, looking a lot like his dad, unfortunately, in that regard. Okay dread, okay command, nothing else. And, at least he's not a chinless wonder, I guess. He's a great warrior. He's irritable. That'll help the realm be, cowed, I suppose, but it's not going to help me make money. Now, you might look at this and think, well, what do you need money for? Well, I'm going to need it. Just trust me. I am definitely going to need money, because when we start going to war with the Spanish, the English, whoever, we are going to lose like all of the money that we have now. It's not going to take very long at all, because all of our money is bound up in trade. And we go to war with the Spanish. They've got a ship in every sea region we've got a ship in, and they've probably got better boats. And we're playing on expert, so they're probably going to get the nice little RNG bias in their favor potentially on these ship battles. So it's just going to be really rough. I think for right now, obviously we're making so much money. Let's see, what do I want to do down here? We've got a couple of princes at this point, which is great. That means we got some good cavalry in Toulouse. We've got some of these guys. And the other issue is we've just had these crusades just tear through, some of my lands. And that's been kind of ruining my armies that I'm trying to build up here. But we are doing a lot of building regardless. To try to get on top of that, but I think yeah, it stinks, but I think I'm going to have to do this yet again, where we, just retrain all of these guys. So let's, drop you. We'll keep the general out for the moment. Yeah. Now this is going to take a while. This is why you kind of don't want to do them all at the same time, because these guys, it's not like Rome Total War where they would just instantly retrain. Retraining takes like one turn no matter how many you get queued up. This is going to take one turn for each. So it is really, it's something you got to consider carefully. And it doesn't, like, I could queue up another unit, and that unit's not going to get trained either. So let's just do that so I don't forget. These guys get a bonus though too, in terms of a discount for the initial upfront cost, only 188 florins. So we got some nice little things in our favor here. Let's just end the year. There's not too much I can plan for at this point, I don't think. Short of going nuts with assassins, that would be a really solid way to deal with the Spanish, right? I could do that. I am totally confident that with enough assassins and enough time, I could eliminate any faction on the map in particular. But I'm not going to do that because it kind of takes some of the fun out of it. Alright. Magnificent builder. Great, great news. So let's go back to Ile-de-France, and we need to build something to make this edge over Toulouse. So I think that's where we want to get into these types of buildings. Or maybe we'll just throw in a gunsmith's workshop or a bell foundry, because that is also going to do it. Let's see. We could go for an inn as well. That's going to take up another slot here. Let's just do that, because I want to focus as much as I can on military stuff that I actually need in Ile-de-France. Alright, we've got you as well we can drop in, okay? And I can retrain Royal Knights, actually. Let's try to remember that, and then we'll get them all set up there. Alright, let's keep going with ships. And yeah, I mean, I guess we could bring Prince John back, but there's no point. He's going to be crowned king, and that's gonna be just fine. Now, Rhodes is still neutral, so we're still trading with him, so I may as well keep that going. And let's get another caravel out of Tripoli. And we do have a crusade marker here that we're not using at the moment that we could chuck somewhere if we thought it would be helpful. I don't think there's any excommunicated targets that I'm interested in sending them after. No. So nothing we could do in that regard. We could send this after, the Mongols, or we could use it against the Byzantines, I guess, or the Egyptians. Or even these rebels would be a valid crusade target, but that's really not what I'm interested in. So we'll just hold on to it. There may be an opportunity. The other interesting thing is about 40 years from now, 40 turns from now, we're going to have the beginning of the late era. And the French, the Catholic factions in general, but I think the French especially, get some really, really good units just the later you go. Okay. So one of my theories about this, we just got a gift of 1,000 florins from the Pope. I'm not sure why this happens. It does happen sometimes. It's happened quite a lot in this campaign, I think. And sometimes I got the feeling that this was due to the Pope feeling bad for you because you were so poor. That's definitely not the case now. So I am not sure at all what this is intended to be for. No idea. Okay, great. That castle's done in Crete. So I think here, yeah, we're building ships in Crete, and look at this. We got some interesting units, some Vikings, some arquebus units, even some billmen, an English specialty, and some, armor and weapon upgrade chivalric men-at-arms. So that's really cool. I'm not gonna buy them up, but I gotta remember we've got that there. Okay, so what do we want to do here? I think this, I want to say, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think a bell foundry is required to get some really good ships. But we can't get them anyway until we get the Citadel built. But yeah, there's no reason we can't do full builds everywhere. Okay, Champagne. Let's just do a trading post. I mean, I know this is going to be really minimal. It's just got grain. But what's the harm, right? Alright, we've got a fortress almost done in Flanders, which is really great. So yeah, for Crete, I guess we just want to jump right up to the Citadel, and then we'll keep climbing up the shipbuilding tree. Maybe we'll devote that to assassins too. I mean, here we've got our 2 valor guys. We'll soon get the 3 valor guys. And again, I want to use them in a sort of a reasonable way here. I like to have assassins around for when I feel like I need them, like there is a crazy inquisitor running around, or just, you know, for self-defense. Okay, Spanish are the most advanced. Poland has died. And another heir matured, Prince Henri. Okay, Royal Estate in Toulouse. Okay, pretty much all the provinces in France get some building, and now we get the clock. So, alright, the mastery of time. I guess trade works better, making men work and trade to its fast beat and work harder as a result. So this hints that your trade income is going to increase. I'm not really able to determine that right now, because I've not been keeping track. Alright, our prince looks pretty decent. Pride and natural leader. So let's do this. In Toulouse, we got, yes, feudal knights. So we can now train feudal knights. But if we go for the baronial court, we should now be almost ready for chivalric knights. We've got the Armorers Guild, but we do need the Horse Breeders Guild. So that's going to require us to get, oh, this. So we don't need the citadel or the fortress level. Okay. Yeah, let's do the baronial court. And let's actually just queue it all up so I can remember that. And then we'll get chivalric knights in 8 and 6, 14 turns. That's great. Okay, Ile-de-France, we're training Arbalests. Guess that makes sense. What else do we want to do here? Yeah, let's go for... I mean, we could go up the siege tree a little bit. It's more for roleplay, but didn't France have some nice nice siege weapons? Or was that, they were more artillery, I guess, in the 100 Years' War. But like trebuchets and stuff, I feel like I never play with those units, so we'll do that. It's partly because this is another line of buildings that's going to show up down here. So see how this is now over all the way across, and this one is not. So now we should have Ile-de-France be the place where our kings are going to be crowned. But this guy's 61. Charles V is hanging on. Let's go with Brittany... 234 to 272. That's got to be minimal farm increase. Okay, we've got handgunners available here. We've got caravels. We've got some cav. We could get a bombard crew. Let's go for chivalric sergeants, just to get another sort of decent all-around unit for spears. And Flanders now has the fortress, the highest tier of castle, which I always like to see kind of close up. Very, very cool. And I just love how these are designed. So the citadel is really, you know, in the fortress here. You can see they just added another layer of walls. So it's very neat. All right, let's go for the rookery. And I think that's everything. There's an English crusade in Anatolia. Okay, that's fine. Inquisition in Bohemia. We kill a papal assassin. Okay, Constantinople needs some buildings. Alright, so this is some news for Spain. The barons of Spain have succeeded in their struggle to limit the king's powers. The king has been forced to hand over hard-won royal privileges and rights, reducing his influence. The nobility, however, see the advantages of supporting the new arrangements, +2 loyalty to all Spanish generals. So that's, you know, it's a pro and a con. Obviously, the decreased, you know, influence affects loyalty. I'm not sure exactly how low the influence goes. Is this -1, -2, -3? +2 loyalty would seem to almost guarantee to make this a non-issue, though, because if you've got a 1 loyalty and then that goes up to 3 shields of loyalty, that is enough to keep you out of a civil war potentially. So I think that's going to be kind of a nothing burger, unfortunately. Okay. And champagne. All right, what is this actually making us? 32. You know, that's fine. That's income that's always going to be around as long as we own the province. So I'm okay with it. We should probably think about making champagne somewhat useful in terms of training. And I guess we could go up like the town watch line of buildings just to get some militia sergeants, or we could go up for crossbows. Let's go for the sergeants, just to get a sort of armor-piercing unit. But Constantinople also finished a, I think, a merchant's building. So that is bringing us in 7,000 a turn. Ridiculous. So our current per profit is 21,000 a turn. So this would be, you know, more than that. It is not very specific. And we can get Royal Knights. I mean, we could build this towards Knights, I suppose. Because we've already got, like, the Master Horse Breeder. So if we do that, yeah, that's Feudal Knights, right? Yeah, let's do that. And we'll sort of trade between that and economy. Alright, but for Palestine, what were we doing? Okay. Let's just go fortress. Let's just go all out with the heavy defense. Germans hitting the Polish. All right, Germans. It is interesting. They reemerged, I think, in the last episode. And just to take a quick look here, yeah, they emerged, I think, right around here. I don't know if they have anything over here in the west. I don't think so. But they've got Poland, Bohemia, and let's see. They may get Carpathia. Maybe not. But we know that the Byzantines have withdrawn in the face of English aggression, so they've English have taken Trebizond, at least temporarily. The Egyptians are the happiest. That's just because they got one province left. Okay, that's not our bark. Okay, zeal is reduced in Scotland, Northumbria, Mercia, and Wales. So all of these provinces due to the philosophy of John Duns Scotus. All right. Yeah, I keep going back and wondering, should I try to be doing, undermining the Spanish in terms of their loyalty? It's so hard to, because, we've got, even this, we've got a spy in here, but they've got a lot of buildings. Town Guard, I think, is improving happiness, even if they don't have anything else that really does. And they're at, 198% loyalty, so there's no way we're going to make a dent in that. We'll just leave them around. They'll at least give us some intelligence in case there's a, an invasion being planned. Okay, so we've got a ton of chivalric men-at-arms here. We do have a decent amount of cav. Let's retrain some of this cav. Oh, I can't train him here. Okay, we can do that down here, though. So, yeah, may as well, yeah, let's do that with you. And we'll wait because this is like the sort of the head general of the whole place, kind of. But I guess we should do that. We will get the Royal Knights at some point. Wait, why can I not? Royal Knights. Is this because it's an early period Royal Knight unit? That could be it. It's technically a different unit. We can't, like, upgrade them to this, which is too bad. Okay, I think that's what it is. All right, fair enough. But we do need some other stuff. We've got okay, a lot of you. We don't have a lot of, Yeah, let's get some more arbalesters. Okay, we'll do that. We may as well train as much as we can, I guess, over the elite stuff while we can afford to have it sitting around. Alright, there they go for rum. Okay, we lose that spy in Algeria. Citadel in Tripoli. So let's see how the invasion went. The Byzantines get Trebizond back, no surprise. The crusade failed. Whoa, good. Very good. Alright. They've still got 2,000 men. And these guys still have less than the crusade. So if the English bring everything in to bear, they could do it. But these guys do have some very good generals. And this guy's not a very good general. Weak attacker, in fact. Yeah, the English generalship around here seems pretty low. There's a 3-star in Lesser Armenia. Okay. And the papacy's kind of cut off with their 4 or 5 stacks over here, so they can't really reach rum. So the English, I think, could win it by attrition if they pour everybody in there. But, yes, we do need the cannon foundry to produce cogs with the shipbuilders guild, which we don't have yet. So I guess we have to go up here to get the shipbuilders guild. So, I mean, is that available here? Let's do this for now, because demi-culverin crews are pretty cool anyway. There's the shipbuilders guild. Okay, so what did we build so that we could do this? Because this doesn't have the fortress either, but we can make this. Is it this building, the gunsmiths? It could be that. All right, I'm gonna try this. Or no, maybe it is this. Okay, this is a little confusing, but let's do the cannon foundry, which we have here, and this may enable us to make the shipbuilders guild, which then enables us to make the other thing, right? I think. Okay, that's what we're gonna do for now, regardless. But if that English crusade fails, I mean, maybe there's a chance of some unrest in the English realm, as the king is going to lose some influence from that. There they go all in. Well, yeah, no kidding. Spanish are the strongest. Oh, they took it. Yeah, look at this, all this red. This is just nuts. The Byzantines are still around, though. I think they're still at war with the English. Yeah, so that's it's not going to bode well for them at all. And if there wasn't a border fort here, I could get a spy down and get something to happen, I think. Like, I don't think we have any excellent spies. We do have a 4-star. Let's risk it. What else are we going to do with this guy, right? Because this is very low taxes and the loyalty is right on the edge, 112%. If we can get this to drop suddenly before they're done with a siege here, you know, that could be nice. They got border forts in most places, but not in Armenia. So maybe I should get a spy there too. Let's get them out of Flanders. And maybe I can sneak him through here. He might just be killed by the border fort. So maybe, yeah, I'll take the long route. We'll go Constantinople, Trebizond, Armenia. and see if that will cause something. So who are we getting hung up on here? It looks like the Egyptians. Maybe it was the English, though. Okay, they move back to. Okay, there's our king, dead. So it should be Jean. And he's already gone from Crete there, gone back to Ile-de-France, I think. The Everlasting League. Surrounded by greedy enemies and vulnerable in the Empire's constant struggles, the Swiss cantons of Uri-Schweiz and Unterwalden have signed a compact pledging mutual aid against all enemies. Although a small start, this Swiss confederation can have sharp teeth, the pikes in the hands of its many soldiers. So this is like your first kind of warning that you could have a Swiss emergence here. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, if it ever will. It's not a guarantee. Unlike the Mongol emergence, the Swiss and the Burgundians, I think, require a rebellion, which means, you know, we would need to help that along, which I'd be happy to. I'd love to see the Swiss and the Burgundians emerge, especially since I don't need Burgundy at the moment. All right, so we've got our spy here, which is great, but he's done nothing yet, so very unfortunate. And over here, yeah, let's... It's probably not worth keeping him here. Let's bring the 4-star spy up to Trebizond where it's safe, and then move him into Armenia. All right. And for this, yeah, 8,000 in trade in Antioch, and what is it, 7,000 here. So Antioch is actually better than Constantinople. We've got the same level of building. Now that might change depending on trade routes. I mean, here we've got basically everything locked down, right? We've got some gaps along the coast. I should probably get ships all over here, just to make things that much harder for the Spanish if they decide to cause trouble. So yeah, let's grab a couple of caravels. That's just a bark. Okay, we'll leave him here, and I'll try my best. I'm not going to remember. Let's move. Just move him here. Okay, so we've got now one on the Barbary coast. We don't have a presence here, but there's no fleet, no port here. But I should probably get a ship there anyway. Just like I need to get ships here and here, because you never know. There may be an opportunity to exploit a gap. You know, this Atlantic coast province looks pretty useless until you've got a fleet in the Atlantic and a fleet here, and all the other, you know, sea regions are occupied by enemy ships, and you want to land someone in Morocco, right? So that's what it's for, and we want to be in position to take advantage of it, if I can remember. Okay, Ile-de-France, we've done that. Chivalric Men-at-Arms, so not sure, honestly, what the point is of the Swordsmiths Guild. Oh, wait, no. Ile-de-France, we don't have the Royal Court yet. That's why we can't retrain those Royal Knights. Okay, I was just misreading it. Very easy to get confused about what's built versus not. Alright, so we've actually... Okay, we've got our +3 assassins. Now we can get our +3 or +2 spies. It's a little weird, isn't it? This doesn't upgrade any farther. We get 2-level spies, 3-level assassins, and it can actually get to 5 assassins because of Syria. But there's no comparable sort of spy location. Alright, yeah, let's get arquebusiers in Tripoli. I just got to try to remember that I've got really good gunpowder stuff down here in the Holy Land. Or at least the capability. I haven't trained anything yet. Oh ho! Alright, this wasn't me, and this is tiny, but maybe it's a hint of things to come. Of course, I'm the richest. King of England has died from an illness. Alright, so we want to watch this. Egyptians are eliminated. Alright, I forgot to check my king. Let's do that. King John III, he looks pretty lame at the moment. Only 3 influence, so I've actually got to be very careful about this. As we are training units, I just want to make sure, yeah, this. So a bunch of these guys were being watched by the prior king. Okay, I think everybody else should be fine because I haven't just been training a lot of troops otherwise. So I think loyalty is okay there. But let's check out the family tree. We've got lots of brothers here. So the king is 38, he's married, great warrior and irritable. And it's hard to tell, but he may... so, okay, this was the son he just had. So Prince Philippe, of course... The current heir is his younger brother, right? Just a year younger than him. And none of these other guys... actually, no, Prince Henri, this was a son of the previous king, so this is another brother. But Philippe is his son, so we should start to see some more sons coming of age, or being born at least. Okay, right, let's get some of this together. So 4 Arbalests, 8 of them, a couple of Royal Knights. Some of these guys who are maybe not the best. Let's just get a couple more archers, sort of as a secondary thing. You know, crossbows are great, but it is nice to have that arc, I think. Okay, yes. This gets us halberdiers, so let's do that, and let's queue up the armorer's workshop just so we don't lose track. Okay, this is even making us 1,000. Alright, yep, Bell Foundry. We're just going to kind of go the same route so we get all the good ships. But let's take you and... yeah, now we've got a presence in the Atlantic Ocean. So I'm sure the English are going to hold on to Tyrolia. Their king is in Northumbria. I've got to take a look at him. Okay, a second rebellion here. Alright, Khan of the Golden Horde has died from an illness. And the English just methodically going through Anatolia here, crusade by crusade. So, where's that declared? It's probably right up here somewhere. Probably right in my face, isn't it? Well, I don't see it, actually. That doesn't mean we're not going to see it. I have no idea where it is. Okay, but they're going for Georgia. Let's see. Okay, they've got low public order here. Very high in 130, low in 124. So we could, you know, I forgot to move my spy around, but let's try not to lose too much track of that. Okay, here's a couple of 1-star loser spies. Where should they go? Let's try Egypt. It may be a death trap, but we'll at least see. Okay, feudal knights now available in Constantinople, which is nice. And we've got, yeah, Armorer's Guild, Master Horse Breeder. So this will be actually, our Chivalric Knights are possibly going to be available in Constantinople before they're available in Toulouse. Or it's got to be very close. So it doesn't matter. They're a good unit wherever they're trained. But in Toulouse, they'll just be a little bit better because of that Valor bonus. All right, Baronial Court. So again, we don't have them yet, but 6 seasons for the Horse Breeders Guild, so we will get him first in Toulouse. Here is the king. We can't see him because they've got ships around there. We should get a ship in Wales, though, off the coast of Wales. Drop it right there, and that, I think, should allow us to see into Northumbria and Wales and Mercia, and we'll also get a little bit of trade. Just double check. Yep, we could get the North Atlantic if we really wanted to. But I also want the Atlantic coast, so let's see, we got a spare ship. We do, but... Okay, their crusade is moving through, like, Germany into Hungary. Oh, nice. Alright, this wasn't even my spy. That is great. Maybe it was Byzantine. That looks good. And that's going to be tough for them. Alright, Marco Polo event. This is a great time to own territory here. Marco Polo's tales of his travels across the world to the court of the great Mongol Khan and far Cathay would amaze any who heard them. The wealth and power of his imagination confounds belief, but the spices and silks he brings are more than welcome as trade goods. There are new goods for trade in Tripoli and Syria. So, let's take a look at those. Tripoli has now sugar and spices, as well as cotton and silk. And I think cotton and or silk was here before, maybe sugar, but I'm quite sure spices are new. And then the same thing here, spices are new in Syria. So Tripoli now is making almost 5,000 in trade, quite good. And Syria would do okay also. So let's check out this rebellion here. This is, alright, I've got a 2-star bishop, but I'm quite sure he didn't have anything to do with it. This is just a peasant revolt. Lots of guns. We get lots of handgunners here, some arquebus units, spearmen and archers, and more of the same with some arbalesters too. Okay, doesn't look too balanced, guys. The rebels have a hard time with that. But then so do the factions, right? Okay, I'm honestly not sure how this is going to go. They outnumber the English, but the English have a more balanced army, but it's a lot of little weird stuff. So, at least, look at this loyalty, 59% here. This must have been a fluke, this Armenia thing, because their loyalty now is 140, but this is going to go, especially if they reinforce Armenia with these guys, which is the only place they can reinforce it from. So that is great. Very happy to see that. Okay, let's retrain this guy now. And actually, both of you, and just checking, yep, you're still happy with everybody. Okay, now can we retrain these Royal Knights? Yes, alright, great, great, great. Everyone's pretty loyal. And how's the king? Still 3, okay. So again, we don't have a lot of homelands. We don't have a crusade going right at the moment. Alright, let's go for a trebuchet. I just don't feel like picking on the Byzantines right now. Or the Mongols. And those are the only 2 targets, really. Alright, Germans, I mean, they've got like maybe two, maybe one more province. Okay, Bell Foundry is done in Brittany, so now... Okay, we can get chivalric men-at-arms here, or sergeants. So let's go for the Citadel. I think it's time for that. Yeah, we're getting the knights retrained. This is very good. Okay, we do actually have some ships here we could use, but I may as well crank it up even further. Alright, so what do we need if we want to use this? We need a cannon foundry, which is this, right? So we should, once we get the Shipbuilders Guild, we should be able to build cogs. So yeah, maybe that's something I'll think about here. Okay, but let's see if we can see the king. Okay, we can see Northumbria anyway. The king has moved off. Where did he go? Okay, Friesland, and we can't... Oh, we can, because it borders Flanders. Oh, he's looking as bad as we are. He's 37. Great warrior, pride, and builder. Only 3 influence. Just like us. If he's not careful, if he's sloppy, you know, there could be a civil war here. He's got a lot of good loyalty. Okay, Tyrolia, I think we want a spy there. Let's wait a couple of turns, or actually, if we queue up a spy at this moment, that'll be our 2 Valor spies. Okay, body house complete. Great. Let's see, what can we build here? Nothing really good, so I want to sort of think about, like, what's one military unit that would be really useful to have. Obviously, Flanders is going to do great in terms of income, but I also want it to be able to build some good units. This is where I should have built the town militia, though. I guess we can have a couple places. So let's do that. Queue up a bunch of those buildings. Just in case we need it, right? In case we need a sudden influx of troops. Okay, you're fine. All right, we got chivalric sergeants here. I don't want to train him yet, you know. There's just not going to be much of a point. Well, I guess we could train him and then move him, like down to Toulouse even. Yeah, let's do that. We'll move him like either to Flanders or into Toulouse, so we can start to build up armies that look reasonable. Income, you know, the profits are still insane, 25,000 a year. Okay, and now we got a guy in the Atlantic Coast region. But we don't want to stop because we still need to make sure, you know, we've got enough ships to counter the Spanish if they do go to war with us. Alright, but we just trained what should be a 2 Valor spy. No, okay, he was the last 1 Valor spy. Right, because now we got this. And you can just tell it's like there should be a 3rd level. And there is, in Viking Invasion, you can get a Cunny Warren. But you can't get it in this for some reason. Maybe they were too embarrassed. Alright, Venice. Alright, that does have a border fort. I want to get here. And here. Honestly, there are no border forts in either of these places. Alright, well, we're going to have to... How can I get over here? This has a border fort. This does not, but that doesn't really help. Let's see Franconia. Alright, yep, big English army moves into Trebizond, kicks the Byzantines back. That's not their goal. Okay, Franconia does have a border fort. So even if Saxony does not, we'd have to get through this, and then, you know, maybe Swabia before we get down. Let's go up to Saxony, let's go up to Swabia. So disappointing, I want to be able to reach this. Where's my 2-star? There we go. Okay, so... let's just send him to Algeria just to see. Yeah, I guess we'll move you down to France, Ile-de-France, and then we'll try through Burgundy. Because then we can access either of these places. And how are we not having a rebellion down here? This is kind of crazy. But the English did manage to stave off the rebellion in Armenia, unfortunately. Let's try to fake him out a little bit. Let's try this. Maybe they'll increase the taxes up here, and then we move the spy back. Okay, Shipbuilders Guild it is, and then we're going to get cogs. Alright, yes, this is the problem. Okay, we'll bring you down to Toulouse, because we don't have a lot of spears here, but hey, I'm going to have to be careful. Okay, as soon as we move the spy out, we get unrest and rum. I'll take it. Alright, Builder, nice. So that's some happiness. And then we're on our way to Magnificent Builder, which will get some loyalty, which will offset that influence. That low influence. Alright, how's this crusade looking? So disloyal, but he's got 2,000 men. So this is almost going to be it for the Byzantines. But we can cause some trouble around here, because I'm not totally convinced that this was not due to our spy. It's just, again, it's a very unfortunate rebel composition. But we could maybe get a rebellion in Armenia again. Alright, so that's a full stack. And let's see, can you make it through Burgundy to Tyrolia? Swabia does have border forts, and I bet Saxony does too, yeah. Alright, so just Burgundy is probably our easiest bet. Alright, great. Rebellion in Armenia. That looks like another 2 good stacks. Maybe not good. Alright, we didn't make it through Burgundy. But Toulouse should now have chivalric knights. And we've got a son on the way. Great. So let's check it out. Yes, indeed. Here they are, chivalric knights. All right, they and their horses are well protected by plate mail and barding. Their lances give them an advantage in the charge, and they are trained to fight from childhood. They are true elite, but can be impetuous in battle. All right, so I see no reason not to train up like 4 of them right now. Okay, these guys don't look too bad, actually. Let's get this stack. How can we do this? All right, just select them. And okay, so this is the 3-star guy. Okay, no, this is the, here's the like commander, or one of them anyway. And then Lord de Mole here, we do need to retrain him, so I'll put him in the queue near the end. All right, we may also want to go for this. I'm not sure what units this is going to affect. But the Master Horse Breeder giving +1 Valor, it might apply to the chivalric knights. I guess we'll see. All right, let's just... I feel like we're never going to make it through Burgundy. I guess we could try Milan. I think there's border forts all over the place. All right, but it's also 1300, which is a time for counting points. So we'll see how well we did. We may be behind, though, at this point. All right, that's it for the Byzantines. All right, so Milan, yeah, border fort. And let's check the goals here. We are just behind the Spanish, just by 1 point. They're ahead of us, and they've got this this new goal for Iberian Spanish civilization. Actually, this is an older one, and they're getting some points for that. So they've got a lot of upgrades in Granada and Cordoba. They don't quite meet the threshold in Castile or Aragon, but they get a lot of homelands and they get a lot of conquest. We've got, you know, a decent amount of homelands, but we're missing out half of what we could in that regard. And the English are going to pull ahead of us too. They've got the Subdue Scotland goal at the moment. And then Aquitaine is a homeland for them, so they may be going for it, right? I'd like to think something would happen here, and this state of affairs is going to get shaken up at some point. Well, let's go for a citadel in Ile-de-France. I think I'm feeling pretty good about the upgrades here. So we'll just go for defense. And yeah, we'll move these guys over. All right, we've got to shuffle them though. There we go. They can go down to Flanders. Actually, all of them in Toulouse. How about that? Yeah, we've got a loyalty problem. All right, so we could, you know, what we could do is we could try a crusade for Syria just to get some influence, but we can't. Oh, interesting. How strange. We've got, these are like Byzantine style troops, but not entirely. There might be a mix of cultures here, and it's assuming, I don't know. So for whatever reason, we cannot crusade in Syria. We don't even have the option. We could go for Rhodes. I don't know. It feels like a bit of a waste. I think what we want to do, you know, we're going to get like a tiny bit of points for it. We would get, we would get 1/5 of a point, right? So it's not going to help our points, really. It's going to maybe help our income slightly, but I think, honestly, we're probably getting more in trading with Rhodes from, like, all these rich trade provinces than we would from owning it ourselves. And so, just for the influence, what we got to do for influences is conquer some other places, you know, not just one province, but like get into a war and start conquering, or get our homelands, which is kind of the same thing at this point. All right, jeez. How about we try Venice into Tyrolia and just see if there's a chance of getting that to happen. I mean, we can keep causing problems for the English in Anatolia, but it's gonna be like small problems. And as you can see, our forces in the Middle East are not the strongest. Now we can train chivalric knights in Constantinople. And Tripoli does have some cool stuff, so maybe let's actually train some of that. Because we could lose all of this very quickly if a war kicks off in the west. The Spanish could just roll through, or the English if they focused on it. So, let's look at these as sort of independent areas. And I think Antioch by itself looks decent. But in Tripoli, this is quite poor. Oh, and actually we need a count here too. All right, so we'll give you that title. It's going to help your loyalty, and then I think I'm just going to disband some of these units that are just small at this point. I mean, Teutonic sergeants are fine, I guess. But yeah, let's get rid of peasants. You know, stuff I'm not really going to use. And then, yeah, let's go for the arquebus units, right? These guys, I can't remember who's better here. I think handgunners are better in, like, melee. And these guys, I think, are better at ranged. Yeah, these guys have a better range. So let's focus on some arquebus units in Tripoli. And here, you know, it's a little behind the times because we don't have great infrastructure, but let's go for that. And now that the English don't have an enemy in the Byzantines, we've got to see what they're going to focus on next. Okay. That probably wasn't mine. I don't think I can make galleys. Alright, yeah, Venice didn't work. Alright, I just flipped past that Estates General thing. I'm not sure what that was for. Alright. Okay, 50% loyalty here. Again, I would think that we would see another rebellion. Okay, loyalty looks good for those units that have started to be trained, so that's a good start. And then over here, this is terrible. Okay. So we'll take the prince to sort of govern this stack. Alright, and this is essentially a full stack. But right, there's that. Okay. Bring you over to Flanders. Yeah, I mean, I think now we're in a good position in terms of the stuff that we can train. We've got a good selection of units. We're starting to get a reasonable, like, army in various places. Crossbowmen are okay. They're not as good as, like, arbalesters and, you know, Pavese arbalesters. But they're okay. And, you know, I feel like we've got a bunch of chivalric knights we could hold out for a bit against this stuff. Because a lot of this is, you know, early era stuff. They do have some chivalric things. They do have some arbalesters, halberdiers. some feudal knights, but they don't have a lot of cav, actually. Except down here they kind of do. But I don't know. If we keep building up here, I think we could take them. And the more we build up, I think the more that's going to encourage them to build up until they realize they can't anymore. They can't afford their armies, and they've got to attack something. And that's going to break them out of the stalemate. Because right now the Spanish are doing nothing. I mean, so am I, but... You know, come on. Spanish. Let's get our princess in Bohemia. Let's end one more year. And then we'll call it, I think, at this point. We've got our navies out pretty much all over the world, with the exception of the Baltic. We've got some very high-tech units. The Spanish king has just died of an illness. Alright, lost a spy in Egypt. Fine. Alright, years with no summer, so that's bad for Northern Europe. But, you know, if we were suddenly attacked by the Spanish, we might lose these two provinces, and we'd have to see how the sea war would go, right? Because it looks kind of even. They do have boats, but they don't have a ton. It's not like the papacy, who's like doubling or tripling up on their ships in a few ports. But we've got sort of a reserve of ships that we're working with pretty steadily. So, like, once this gets done, we can start to build cogs. I don't think... Yeah, we can't build them yet in Tripoli. But, yeah, I think we're making them, you know... We're making some good builds. Let's try this one more time. Get the spy over towards Rum and see if we can fake him out there. But, yeah, I think they're bringing spies of their own, or they're doing something. So that it's just going to be a big stalemate over here, too. So I imagine probably they're going to go for Syria next. And let's see if the English are at war with anybody else. They are not. They're not allied with the Golden Horde, so that might be their next target. And if they do, this is a war that can take a while, right? As they sort of just move up into the steppe. Russia's, I think... Oh, Russia is still around. And they're at war with the Golden Horde. Interesting. But... I think the English would have plenty to do up around here. Maybe they're even involved a little bit around the Baltic, but yeah. We would have, at this point, I think, pretty much an open ticket to attack whoever, the Spanish or the English, without fear of excommunication, because I'm sure, you know, we've got 5 provinces here, 6, 7, 8... We've got 11 provinces. That's it. The Spanish have, I think there's 8 here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we're smaller than the Spanish, and we're definitely smaller than the English. So we could, you know, I guess, theoretically start something. And we might be at a point where we could hit the English. And then the Spanish, right, would have to decide, are they going to ally with me or the English, because we're at war. And then if they ally with me, then that leaves them open to spend some of their troops against the English. But if they ally with the English, then they can start hitting me, I guess, right? I think we hit Normandy. That's the weakest. We could get him to rout, or, you know, maybe conversely, we get just a good army and hit Anjou. We could hit that from Toulouse and Ile-de-France. That would probably make more sense. It's a flat land, hills and flat land from Toulouse, meaning we would have the advantage of height if the attack is thought to originate from here. Of course, moving troops from Toulouse opens us up with regard to the Spanish, and they could hit us. So I'm, you know, very concerned about this. But if we do hit Anjou, then we could even send troops from Brittany if we want. We could build up a bunch of chivalric sergeants here and then just throw them in. But I don't think it would take, you know, we would need, like, I think, I'd feel comfortable invading this with, like, 2 really good stacks. Because it's really, as we've seen, you beat the first army, and you're kind of good to go. Now they've got a lot of archers, but there's probably like some trees and hills here that could be to their advantage. But we've got a lot of chivalric men-at-arms. And we've got a bunch of royal knights, and we've got a bunch of chivalric knights that are coming online. And we've got archers too, right? I guess maybe I would want to go for some Pavy's crossbowmen here. Let's maybe queue up a bunch of those. Put them in the front line. We could even get a bunch of mercenaries at the last second, throw them in. And we'll see what the Pope says, right? Maybe that's what we do. I don't know. I don't like planning these things. I'm much more comfortable when an opening provides itself. And like the AI does something that kind of forces my hand a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing this now, so now I need to figure out the way to crack Spain, right? That's not happening, and so I feel like I'm making decisions outside of my comfort zone, and any decision I make is going to open up Pandora's box. Like, it's going to get crazy, I think. We attack the English, and that could throw the whole campaign into a tailspin. I know it sounds like I'm being overly dramatic, but our Holy Land could be really, vulnerable. The English don't have much of a fleet at all, which is really interesting. So we'd be relatively safe with trade if the Spanish don't pile on. But of course, if they do, that's a huge problem. But yeah, I think this is what we want to do. I think Nanjou is our next target. So maybe that'll be what we do in the next episode. See you then.